Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Square Pegs. I am Jay, and you know, it has been a minute since I've just done a straight-up video game review on this channel. I think it's actually been like close to a year since I've just done a solo video game review on this channel, and so we're gonna do that today because there has been a little game that has crossed my path that I've just become absolutely obsessed with, and it's called C.A.R.L. C.A.R.L. Yeah, just a single name. C.A.R.L. like Cher, like Madonna. And I want to thank the publisher for providing a review code for this one because I did request it. And I was kind of expecting this to go into an eShop Hidden Gems video, but legit, guys, this game is so good, I needed to kind of feature it on its own and do a full featured video on it because it's been a long time since I've had this much fun with a platformer. This game is excellent. Let's start from the top. So how do I do my reviews here on Square Pegs? I do things pretty simply. We talk about the graphics, we talk about the music, talk about the gameplay, and we talk about the aesthetics of the game, and there's a lot to go through. Now, what are aesthetics? This is always kind of a question, but for me, aesthetics are things that can't really be quantified into other things. Like, in a case of a digital game like C.A.R.L., we're going to be talking about things like the writing, the menu design, little different extras and unlockables that you can get in the game. There's all kinds of neat stuff in here, and it's trust me, this game is dripping in aesthetic and style. But let's start with gameplay. So the gameplay in C.A.R.L. is pretty simple. It's a platformer. Everyone understands what you have to do here. You go into a particular level, you have to find a certain amount of things inside of it. There are chips that you need to collect, and as you advance through, you are going to unlock continuing levels as you go. We've all played platformers, we all understand how they work, we all understand how this goes. But the really neat thing about C.A.R.L., and this is something, a lot of platformers do this, but one of the things that C.A.R.L. does exceptionally well is that it provides you opportunities to unlock different things in the game. So as you're going through levels, there are going to be hidden items in them. Now, you're going to be able to collect things like arcade games, which are represented by a joystick, health boxes, blueprints to increase your jumps and provide you with invincibility when you dash and things like that, medals that allow you to increase your weapons attributes, and then eventually you're going to find someone that actually is an arms dealer and will sell you things like rockets and a spread shot and a grenade launcher. It's a really well-made game, and it's something where I've just kind of really fallen into this game, and it's something that I played almost exclusively for almost 2 weeks now when I got it on the pre-release. Now, looking at it from a graphical perspective, you're going to look at this and you're going to go, well, it's just a basic 8-bit game. The thing I really appreciate about C.A.R.L. and the thing I really like about it is the fact that, it leans into that aesthetic, but it does things exceptionally well. Like, it's not just reliant upon base sprites or anything like that, like in an NES Maker or in a general game design kind of suite of things that you're able to get. Everything is customized, everything is unique, everything has a personality and a style to it. The game is so well designed that even though it is an 8-bit aesthetic, and it leans into that, like I said, it's something where it just works. The tiles in the game look great. The different enemies in the game are fun and memorable. The boss fights are hilarious and spectacular and huge. There's different kind of, I don't want to call them mini-bosses, but we'll call them more difficult enemies in each level, where you're going to have to fight them to proceed on. Like, there are spiders that'll appear in the third world where they're going to chase you around, and they're massive, and if they hit you once, you die. But there's going to be hints throughout that are going to show you where you can stand, where you can hide, based on the different colors of the wall. And that's before we even get to things like just the denizens of the dump, which is where the world hub is. So you have the different characters in there. Each character has a unique personality, a unique design, a unique look. Each world has its own unique design. Like, the first one is kind of construction themed, the second one is based on a gymnasium, the third one is dark and mysterious, and the fourth one is all kind of technological stuff, like big technology advances. And then you get to the big boss fight at the end, and I'm not going to show any of that because I really think you need to experience it for yourself. But rest assured, the design and the look of the game is just comfort food. It's just so well done that you can't help but fall in love with it. Now, as much as I love the look of the game, I think the strongest aspect of the game, other than the gameplay, is the music. This has one of the greatest chiptune soundtracks I have ever heard in a video game. Victor regularly calls the music in the game a bop or a banger, which I love because I don't know what any of that means, but I'm assuming it's good because I know when I listen to it, it's fantastic. It's music that I enjoy hearing. It's music that I want to hear on repeat, and it's something I want to play because it's just good to hear. Each world kind of has its own theme and has its own different musical identity that is really well laid out and really well presented. And one of the really neat things about it is, this kind of dips into the aesthetics part as well, is that you actually unlock CDs. So there's a jukebox in the Robo Bar where you're able to go talk to him, and you can play music from the game that you find, and there has yet to be a track that I've heard that I'm just like, that one's okay. Everything's just really good. Everything is just solid and fantastic and sounds wonderful, and it's just a great soundtrack. And that would be all well and good, because soundtracks are great, but sound is more than just a soundtrack. You also need the sound effects and the different things in the game. So there are different weapons that you're going to be able to use and different explosions, and you're going to hear different things as you're playing. One of my favorite things, my favorite aspects of the sound design, besides just the use of these great sound effects throughout the game, there's not much to say there, they're good sound effects. But when you go into a level, the music sounds muffled until C.A.R.L puts his headphones on. And then the music kicks into overdrive and you actually hear everything full-fledged, and it actually mutes when you pause the game as well. It's a little attention to detail, a little thing like that just really sticks out to me as being an exceptional level of game design. It's something like that where I look at it and I say, this is special, this is something important, this is a game that more people need to play. As much as I've enjoyed the music and as much as I've enjoyed the look of the game, the meat and potatoes of this game is the gameplay. And it is spectacular. I won't lie to you, it's very difficult. It's a hard game. But it's also very forgiving, because it's not a game where you have a life counter. So you don't have a particular number of lives where if you run out of them, game over, you have to restart. No, you die, you go back to your last save point, and you're going to find save points throughout the level as you play. And you're going to keep progressing that way, and you're going to die a lot. It's just going to happen, because it is not only a platformer, there are precision aspects to the platforming as well, where there are things that are just going to kill you in one hit. And that would normally be frustrating to me. That's normally something where I'm just like, well, this is stupid, I don't want to play this. But C.A.R.L does it in such a logical way, and in a way where you can look at it and you can recognize when the problem occurs, and you can see pretty much immediately how you need to fix the situation. Now, that's not saying you're going to fix it every time. It's not a one-and-done thing. You're not immediately going to fix it and then immediately jump back in and be able to advance through the level. No, sometimes you're going to die multiple times, because there's just hard parts of the game. One of the things I mentioned earlier, in the third level, there's the spiders that kind of chase you around, the big sweeper bots, and those are damn hard to deal with. You are going to be going around and you're going to have to dodge them and pay attention to the different flashing lights and what color the background is that you're on, because if you're on the wrong colored background, you're gonna get attacked and you're gonna die in one hit. And that can get frantic, because eventually there's going to be other enemies that you have to deal with as well, and while you're fighting them, you're going to need to pay attention to the surrounding areas, make sure that you're in a safe spot, because when these sweepers come by, they don't stop, they just keep going. It is something that is continuously running, continuously moving, and it's just an extra environmental hazard to deal with. There's also some really creative enemy designs based on just kind of silly aspects. The game is firmly tongue-in-cheek. The game is decidedly something that doesn't take itself too terribly seriously, and I really appreciate that, because there's humor inherent through so much of the design work in the game. There are enemies where you are going to have these kind of almost obelisk guys come in the second level. They drop from the ceiling or they race from the ground. They have these giant eyeballs on them. You have to shoot them in the eyeball, and when they blow up, they almost look like they're crying. Also in that level, there are gigantic statues of the big bad guy in the game that you have to kill, and he's in a thong, and it's ridiculous. He looks absolutely silly in ridiculous bodybuilding poses, and it's really funny. And it's something where you look at it, and sometimes those things will kill you, and it could be frustrating in other regards, but in a game like this, where you're like, I really want to kill that thing now, I really want to get back to it. And it's just a super fun game to play. Now, the gameplay is varied in each level. So in level 1, I mean, it very logically kind of trains you as you play. It's not something where it throws you immediately to the wolves. You're going to be kind of upping your difficulty and upping the way you play as you go. Then when you get to the second world, there are going to be additional things added, because you unlock abilities at the end of every level. So now the different abilities you get a double jump, you get a dash, you get a butt stomp, and you get a rocket boost. And the rocket boost is useful at the end, because that's how you get to the last boss. And these different abilities will unlock access to different areas in levels you have previously beaten. So certain things will be very difficult to reach under normal gameplay, but as soon as you get the double jump, it's a lot easier now. So there's a lot of replay value built in, and with the difficulty inherent to the game, it's something where you're going to want to kind of keep building and keep moving and keep trying to 100% it, because I'm telling you, this is the first time I have 100%ed a game in a long time. I don't normally 100% games. It's not something I go back to and I focus on trying to get everything on. I'm doing the New Game Plus. I had to flush myself down a toilet to do it. It's a whole thing. And I'm playing that now where I start the game off with all my upgrades and everything like that. Significantly easier. It's almost like a speedrun mode now of C.A.R.L, which is kind of cool. But I beat it and I immediately wanted to play it again. That's a good game. Now, from an aesthetic point of view, the game is dripping in style. I love the look of the game. I love the design elements of the game. There are so many clever lines of dialogue and well-designed conversations and just dialogue trees that you have where you're talking to different characters and different unlockables that you'll have. Like, there's a particular character that has a trading card binder, and he's just a dude in a cardboard robot suit. But as you collect stuff, you're going to be able to read up on the different denizens in the different levels, the bosses, the characters in the dump, and you're going to be able to read a bit about their backgrounds, the things they like and dislike. And it's just a really... It's a wonderful world-building experience that normally wouldn't be seen in a game like this. Like, the game just leans into its lore and leans into its design and leans into its style. And I love that about it. There's also all kinds of different aesthetic things as well. Like I mentioned earlier, when you pause the game, the music will muffle a little bit. When you start a level, the music is muffled until C.A.R.L puts on his headphones. There's some really clever signs throughout the different levels where you're going to be able to find notes that are tacked up on the wall that'll give you hints. In the third level in particular, they're written by the big bad boss of the level, so you kind of get a little bit more of a sinister undertone. It's just something that took every opportunity to have a great attention to detail and leaned into it. One of the things I really love are the unlockable arcade games in the robot bar. So as you go, you're going to find unlockable versions of Robotron 2084, Galaga, Arkanoid, and Donkey Kong. So you're going to have these different versions of these games that are starring the robots from the C.A.R.L game. They all are really fun. I mean, they're not perfect versions of them. The Robotron one is pretty fun. Arkanoid's pretty fun, but they're all nice little distractions, and you can make money playing them. So you can actually gain currency as you play, which is pretty cool. If you play well, you're going to make cash, and that's really nice. All right, so final thoughts on the game. I mean, obviously, you guys know that I'm head over heels in love with this, and I really do think that this is a game that a lot of people will enjoy if they give it a shot. It's not an expensive title. It's $14.99. It's currently on sale for $9.99. And I really think jumping on this early, while it's not necessarily something I typically do with eShop titles, I'm so happy I did with this one. And I want to thank the publisher for providing me the review code for this, because it has honestly been a treat to play this game. Like, I feel so fortunate to have played this game. It is something truly special. If I'm a betting man, and I'm not typically, but looking at kind of the layout of the year and the games that I have been able to play this year, I can tell you without hesitation, C.A.R.L is going to be in my Game of the Year top 10 list. Without a doubt, I've enjoyed it that much. I think it is one of the best independent games of the year. I mean, I'm playing it... I got this and Shovel Knight Dig on the same day, and I'm playing this more than I'm playing Shovel Knight Dig, and you guys know how much I love Shovel Knight. So, final thoughts on C.A.R.L. Is it a must-buy? Yeah, it's definitely a must-buy. It's something I'm absolutely loving. Something I think is just absolutely fantastic, and I'm going to be honest with you, it is just such a great game. I really think you're going to enjoy this if you're a platformer fan at all. It is definitely worth the money, and at $10, like that $9.99 sale price right now, absolute steal. Fantastic game. Hey, if you enjoyed this video and you're new around here, you haven't already done so, please consider hitting the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And what do you think about C.A.R.L? Are there any other independent games you're playing right now? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd really love to hear from you. Till next time, folks, I have been Jay. Oh, wait, hold on. Big thank you to my patrons and channel members you guys are seeing on screen right now. Could not do any of this without you guys. I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much, as always. Till next time, folks, I've been Jay. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me. Remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.